Hey everyone, Justin here with Executive Functional Healing. One of the questions I get from people is, Justin, how can you actually help me if we're meeting over Zoom? And the answer is, we can do a lot more virtually than most people realize. Executive Functional Healing is a virtual practice, which means I work with people across the country through Zoom. You don't have to live here in Texas to work with me. And today I want to walk you through exactly what that looks like. So when somebody comes to me, I am just not interested in one symptom. I want to understand your entire story. What are you dealing with right now? When did it start? What was going on before it started? What have you already tried? What medications or supplements have you taken? What's your diet like? How are you sleeping? What's your stress like? How is your digestion? What has changed over the years? Because sometimes the thing you're struggling with today didn't actually start today. There may have been things happening months or even years before your current symptoms showed up. And that's one of the reasons I believe listening is so important. I don't want somebody to feel like they have 5 minutes to explain what's been happening to them. I want to hear the whole story. Once I understand your history, we can start looking for patterns. Let's say somebody comes to me because they're dealing with bloating. We could just focus on the bloating. But I want to know what else is happening. Are you constipated? Do you have reflux? Are you exhausted after eating? Are you dealing with brain fog? How is your thyroid functioning? Have you been on antibiotics repeatedly? Have you taken acid blocking medications, PPIs, for years, months? Have you had previous infections? If so, what's happening with your blood sugar? What's happening with your stress and sleep? Because the body isn't a collection of completely separate systems. Things can influence one another, and that's where we start connecting the dots, depending on the person and what we're trying to understand. Functional lab testing may also be part of the process. That could include testing that looks more closely at the gut, hormones, metabolic health, nutritional status, or other areas that may be relevant. But here's something that's important. I don't believe in running tests just for the sake of running tests. Testing should have a reason behind it. What question are we trying to answer? And is the result actually going to help us make a better decision about what comes next? When testing is appropriate, much of it can be coordinated remotely, depending on the test. You may receive a kit at home, completely with collection according to the lab's instructions, and send it directly back to the lab. And then when the results are available, we review them together virtually. I can explain what we're looking at, what may be significant, and how those findings fit into the bigger picture of what you've been expecting. Once we've gathered the information we need, the next step is figuring out what we're actually going to do about it. And there's where the individualized care really matters. I don't want to hand everybody the exact same supplement list or the exact same diet. Two people can walk through my virtual door with very similar symptoms and have completely different histories. So their plans may look different. Depending on the person, we may work on nutrition, lifestyle, digestion, sleep, stress, targeted supplementation, or other areas that make sense based on what we've found. And we don't necessarily try to change everything overnight. Sometimes the best approach is to prioritize. What needs attention first? What can wait? What's realistic for this person to actually implement in their life? Because a plan isn't very useful if somebody can't follow it. This isn't about having one conversation and then disappearing. We follow up, we look at what's improving, we look at what's not improving. How are you responding? Are there things we need to adjust? Do we need additional information? Do we stay on the same course? That's part of why I view this as a process. Complex health issues don't develop overnight, and we shouldn't always expect them to resolve overnight either. So sometimes we have to make adjustments along the way. One of the things I love about working virtually is accessibility. You don't have to live near my office. You don't have to sit in traffic, and you're not limited to choosing somebody simply because they're within driving distance. We can sit down face to face over Zoom, go through your history, review your information and lab results, and talk about what's happening, and continue working together from wherever you live. And for people who have been struggling for a long time, that opens up a lot more possibilities. But whether sitting across from each other in the same room or talking through a computer screen, there's something that doesn't change. You deserve to be listened to. If you've been struggling for years, if you've been seeing multiple practitioners, if you've been told everything looks normal, even though you know you don't feel normal, I understand how frustrating that can be. My job is not to promise you a miracle, but my job is to listen at the information we have, to ask better questions, and help work through this system systematically. That's what executive functional healing is about. If you'd like to learn more about working with me, you can visit my website at www.executivefunctionalhealing.com. You can also schedule a free 15-minute discovery call through my website to see whether executive functional healing might be a good fit for you. I'm Justin with Executive Functional Healing, and I'll see you in the next video.